Peace. What is up, my family? I am OnenO. Welcome back to the blog, and today we got a real fun subject. We're going to be talking about the subject of your third eye. We're going to demystify it. We're going to talk about what it is and how to know if it's open and how to know if it's balanced. You guys ready? Let's jump on in. All right, so first things first, what is your third eye? Well, before we dive into how to know if your third eye is open, let's talk about what it is. It's the chakra point that coincides right with the center of your brain. So your spine is one long line of energy, and you have 7 chakra points that move up and down your spine that correlate with different energetic and physical organs in your body. But specifically, when you talk about the chakras, you're talking about the energy body. And so the energy body works in tandem with my physical body. If I did not have energy going through my body would be dead on the floor. So my energy body and my physical body work together. And there are 7 major chakra points in the energy body. And the third eye is the one that's right here in the middle of your head. So how do you know if your third eye is open? Well, the first major telltale sign that your third eye is open is that your intuition begins to expand. Now, before we go any further, let's just analyze this word intuition because it's a very important word. First of all, the suffix in means to come from within, and tuition is actually the educational process of teaching someone or something. So if you are teaching someone, that is known as tuition. In our modern day language, we know the word tuition to mean the money exchanged for the educational process. But when you go back to ancient Latin, I believe it is, the word actually means the process of teaching a pupil. Now there's 2 other definitions on this word, and I got these definitions from Etymology Dictionary online. I'll put a link to that in the description down below. But these other 2 definitions are one from 15th century Old English, which is just the word for safekeeping. And then from the Old French, it's a word for guardianship. So these definitions all come from the word tuition. So tuition, to summarize, means guardianship, protection, and education. So now intuition is the education that comes from within, and its motivating factors are to protect you and to guide you, to guard you and expand you, to educate you so that you become the greatest version of who you are. But more specifically, it's this information that comes from within, and it comes specifically with the ability to expand you, to protect you, and to guide you. And this is your spiritual connection to Source. How else do we know if our third eye has been opened? We know through the expansion of our intuition. We also begin to see that our third eye is open when we analyze the amount of synchronicity taking place in our life. Do synchronicities just happen all the time and they come flowing to you from left and right? Then this is a clear sign that your third eye is beginning to open, because you begin this clear connection with Spirit, with Source. And what happens as a byproduct is the world around you begins to move and to shift. And that which is going on within you begins to be reflected on the world around you. And situations and people, they play a part in reflecting to you your inner state. And that leads us to our third bullet point of how to know that your third eye is open. And this is, you begin to see the direct connection between creation and imagination. They are one in the same thing. You create everything in the universe from your imagination. And to bring this part of the topic to a total physical level, let's talk about something as cool and as arbitrary as these headphones. Somebody had to imagine all the technology that went into these headphones just for these to physically exist. Without 1 ounce of imagination, these headphones could have never taken place in the physical world. It's not possible. They had to be imagined before they could be created. When it comes to the principles of life and how the universe operates, your whole world, your whole reality, situations, experiences, friendships, all of it comes from your imaginational space. Imaginal space. Imaginal zone. What weird words to use. This imaginational space. I've never said that word in my life. But this imaginal zone becomes the focus then of how you manifest your life. You begin to focus deeply on what's happening in your imagination because you see the clear connections between your imagination and the world around you. For instance, like our previous bullet point just established, synchronicity begins to take place in direct correlation with your imaginations. And what you entertain in your mental space becomes reflected upon the physical space. And that's how you know your third eye is opening. You begin to pay attention to your imagination and even use your imagination for constructive and positive purposes to be able to manifest the life of your dreams, to become the greatest version of who and what you are, and also to help society become the best environment it could possibly be. And you use your imagination to get there. The next bullet point on how to know that your third eye is open is that the connection between your inner space and your outer space becomes even deeper. You start to see with more clear awareness how everything going on within you becomes reflected into the world around you. And when you start to blur the lines between what you consider the internal space and what you consider the external space, and you start to see that they in fact are one and the same thing, that's when you know your third eye is opening. You start to see the connection and the oneness between what you used to call internal space and external space. Because through the imagination, which you might call your internal space, synchronicity then comes into effect and it pulls situations into your physical reality. So therefore, your imagination has created a physical experience for you to go through. And that's how you know your third eye is opening, because you have seen it from the inner space first, and then you've watched it and you've lived it on the external space, and the harmony of those things is the proof that your third eye is open. The last bullet point I'll share is simply this. You start to become more aware of other people's thoughts, emotions, and states of being. You pick up from other people, seemingly without knowing from where this information comes from, information about them that's accurate to them, and if you were to speak on this information, you'd get into a very interesting and fun conversation with that person where they might even ask you, how did you know that? How did you just think of that? How did you just give me the answer to the question I had? Or how did you just give me this advice on a situation that you didn't even know was taking place in my life? That's because you become more tuned in with your environment and the people around you. When your third eye is open and clear, when you're standing in front of somebody, you will get flashes of intuition that will reveal information to you about that person or about that person's experience, that if you speak on it, you will see through the confirmation of your friend in this metaphor, you'll know that this information is valid and it's pure and it's real and it came from their consciousness. But yet there's one layer deeper to this bullet point, which is it's not that you have a consciousness and they have a consciousness and you're becoming aware of their consciousness or vice versa. It's that the separation of consciousness begins to leave altogether, and you start to realize the oneness between you and the person that you are interacting with. And it's because that you are one, you experience their thoughts or emotions or states of being without them ever having to say it or without having to display it. It's not through their words or through their tone of voice or through their mannerisms that you pick up this information. It's from the intuition, the internal education, the internal guardianship and protection, and the ability to transform yourself. That is the mechanism that is informing you. So now, to wrap up this video, let's talk about personality traits of people that have a balanced third eye. When your third eye is balanced, first and foremost, you are non-judgmental. You completely abandoned all ideas of superiority, and you start to see the equality in the spiritual sense between you and your brother and you and your sister, no matter if they are actually your family brother or sister. They're just your brother and sister because you are a human being. And you are all equal in the eyes of God. You are all family in the eyes of God. There is no separation between you. When you judge somebody, you are condemning them. You're looking down upon them and you're saying, I've got it figured out, you've got it wrong, and I am a better human being because of that, or I am more spiritually evolved because of that. No, the spiritually evolved person never judges another person, because they know that they were once where that person is. Therefore, they have compassion for where that person is. And therefore, they enact on their compassion and empathy and sometimes sympathy to build a connection with this person. And they even utilize their intuition to help give little drops of wisdom and knowledge to this other person so that they may elevate their consciousness. But you see, if I was to judge that person, I would never be able to do what I had just said. I would never be able to offer them intuition. I would never be able to offer them compassion or empathy. If I'm judgmental, then all of those things disappear. But somebody with an open third eye that is balanced will never judge another human being when it comes to their spiritual worth, their personal worth. They will never judge another one. They will never condemn. And therefore, the next personality trait is obvious. People with a balanced third eye are peaceful, because simply, in a judgmental mind, all of your internal space goes insane, because judgment cannot be kept for only others. Judgment, if it exists anywhere inside of you, it exists everywhere inside of you. And so therefore you judge yourself and you become insane. And the opposite of peace is insanity. So therefore, if you have a balanced third eye, you will discover internal peace. That's a guarantee. And the last thing I'll say about personality types with an open and balanced third eye is they are out of society's version of normal. They, or you, if you have an open and a balanced third eye, you might be considered a little strange from the friends that you have around you, or a little bit weird from your family members who don't quite understand this new spiritual conversation that you seem to be obsessively engaged in. And that's because your third eye is open, your third eye is balanced, and when your third eye is open, you're about to bridge your entire gap with spirituality. And what I mean by that is that when your third eye is blocked, your spiritual energy does not flow through your body at the same rate with the same amount of clarity and information as it does when all of your chakras are in alignment and open and flowing perfectly. So therefore, if you live in a world full of people that are out of alignment and mostly stuck in their lower chakras, and somehow you manage to open your heart chakra, open your throat chakra of communication, open your third eye chakra of intuition and spiritual knowledge, and then when your crown chakra is open, you are fully connected to source. When all of you is in that position, you're going to be considered a little bit weird from society, because society does not operate like that presently. And that's why you and I are even here having this conversation, because we are all going through the process of elevating our consciousness, which means that there will be other people, and a lot of people out there, who do not have an open third eye, who do not have a balanced third eye, who operate from a judgmental state of mind. But it is our job to be that random, weird, out of the normal person with an open and balanced third eye, because then we can show compassion and empathy and ultimately love to our brothers and our sisters in our human family and create a new world that is based on these principles. And that's what we're all here to do. We're here to create a world that's more in harmony than it has ever been, because now is the time. Now is the time. I'm gonna finish it there, okay? Thank you for watching the video. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Very soon I'm gonna be launching a Patreon. So if you wanna be up to date with that and when I actually launch it, I'll be launching it through my email. So if you go to my website, which is IamOnenO.com, find the contact page, sign up on the email list. You'll be notified of my Patreon as soon as it goes live. But until I see you again along the journey, oneness in sound, I am OnenO. Peace out, family.